All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We're just going to go ahead and get started. So let me introduce our Chief Customer Officer, Mike Martin.
Awesome. Thanks, Molly, and thanks everyone for being here. We're excited to chat a little bit today about Salesforce Community Cloud or Experience Cloud or whatever you want to call it as Salesforce renames things on a regular basis. Really excited to be here. I am the Chief Customer Officer at 10K Advisors. We're an on-demand Salesforce consultancy. We're made up of a network of independent contractors and small consulting companies, allowing both our experts and our customers to have the freedom to do the work that they love. We've got a little bit of a different approach on how we consult and talk a little bit about how we engage with our customers today with our special guest, Tracie Pruden. So maybe Tracie, you could give a quick introduction of yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. First of all, thanks for having me. 10K, I'm a big fan. So full disclosure, I might accidentally give you a little too many props. I know that's not what this is all about, but I appreciate you having me on today. I'm the CIO for a company called Advanced Turf Solutions. We're primarily a distributor for the green industry. So anyone that's growing and maintaining real grass, golf courses, sports fields, schools, municipalities, lawn care operators. We also have a walk-in business at all of our locations. We have about 25 locations now, I think. So we do have a retail arm too, where homeowners can come in and buy our products. And then we have a services division with our sports turf division. So actually doing construction and maintenance of sports fields. So that's Advanced Turf. And yeah, I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about kind of my role there too, and how we are using Salesforce.
Great. Yeah. Let's just dive right in there, Tracie. So you've shared a little bit about Advanced Turf, but how have you become such a power user of Salesforce, both yourself and at Advanced Turf Solutions?
Yeah, so I started full-time as the CIO in about 2016, so 4 years ago. And prior to that, I'd actually worked on and off as a consultant with Advanced Turf. So I knew kind of that they had some IT challenges. One of the biggest being that they had implemented like a pretty old school client server ERP before I came on board. And the sales reps had no access to that. So they have about 100 people now out in the field that don't have access to their ERP. So Salesforce, I knew coming in was going to be big. I was working full-time actually as a Salesforce consultant prior to coming on with Advanced Turf. And so I just knew it'd be huge for them. And we started implementing with Sales Cloud first in about 2017.
Great. How do you think using Salesforce has helped your company grow and scale in ways you couldn't otherwise?
So a lot of different reasons. Our ERP, like I said, is pretty old school client server. Not only do our sales reps not have access to it, but it's also really hard to customize. So I feel like we were using spreadsheets and forms and doing all these things outside of our system simply because we didn't have another way. So Salesforce has been really valuable for us in a lot of different departments now. We continue to add more and more, really just letting it be an extension of our core processes, not just a CRM. So it's just been huge for us. We have no collaboration really in any of the software that we had before Salesforce. So it lets our departments collaborate with each other. It just gives us a lot more accuracy, a lot more accountability, and that bridges that gap for our sales team and our ERP and our other users that didn't have, any way to kind of communicate with each other and work with each other.
Awesome. So I know Advanced Turf has all of the clouds or many of the clouds,
Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit about your use specifically of Community Cloud or Experience Cloud. We're getting a lot of interest in this from across our client base. So what was your catalyst for implementing Community Cloud, and why is it so important now?
Sure. So our initial catalyst was simply to give our customers a way to access their information, view and edit their account profiles, view their past orders, and pay for invoices online. We actually were stepping back a little bit when we implemented our original ERP before I was at Advanced Turf, because we used to have a customer portal. So they haven't had that for a few years now. And the IT team and the marketing team have been working hand in hand, really trying to drive this. And then now this year, the pandemic has obviously thrown everybody a lot of curveballs, but one thing that it did for us, we were already planning on implementing our customer community this year, but our sales team wasn't totally sold on it. They honestly thought their customers just didn't want or need to have that kind of self-service element. And what we found out when we were forcing our customers to call ahead and to place orders ahead of time for safety reasons was that they loved it. So now we've got some more internal champions that really realize how important it is. And we have a lot of customers. We're in a lot of different regions. And so for our sales reps to be able to give customers, things that they need and give them the ability to do things without having to do a site visit or even make a phone call is huge.
That's awesome. And I know you also are proponents of FSL, or Field Service Lightning. Tell us a little bit more about how you're taking advantage of that solution.
Yeah, so we, talking about spreadsheets, our services division was operating off of Google Sheets. So our entire sports turf services team was on Google Sheets. So if our only communication with our techs out in the field was literally, we knew they left the warehouse in the morning, and then maybe they would call at night and let us know how the job went. So we implemented field service 2 years ago, which has been huge. Now we know, where our team is. We can move things around and be flexible if we need to. We communicate with our customers a lot better, obviously. And then actually 10K helped us customize field service. So we really had no idea from a business standpoint, no real idea what our different services were costing us from a labor perspective. I mean, we just really weren't tracking that very well. So it's been huge to know, exactly how many hours we're spending on jobs, and how much it's really costing us to do the different types of work that we do. So it's been big.
Great. Yeah, that was a fun project. I'm glad we got to engage with you on that one.
Yeah.
So just given our experience and my personal experience in the industry for 10 to 12 years, really you guys are taking advantage of Salesforce a lot more than other companies your scale and size. What advice might you give to other companies looking to invest in Salesforce and some of the clouds that you're using as well?
Yeah, I mean, I guess first off, I would say, not to be scared of that, to utilize experts in the beginning, not just for basic implementation, but to really look at what products might we need, what level of license might we need. I mean, we're a small IT team. We have, like you said, a lot of the different clouds. We've got Pardot. We've got all these different things that we're supporting. And yet I think we're saving money because we've really figured out, with the help of experts, what level of license our different users need. Some of our users are, on partner communities. Some of our users are on full sales cloud. So we've got a whole variety, and it's, again, we're a small team, and it's important to lean on experts to help with that, but it's absolutely possible and valuable. And I wouldn't look back with how we're doing it now.
Great. How did you come to first work with us at 10K, and why did you like or decide to go with the on-demand contract model instead of a larger traditional firm?
Yeah, so I knew you, Mike, through Aperio. I know a couple former Aperians that were at 10K, and so when I learned about 10K's model and knowing that you have the experts around the country in all these different areas, obviously that's important for us, and also just the fact that as a small IT team, we rely on our partners really heavily, but to have a partner that can be more agile and be flexible and do small things if we just literally need a little bit more bandwidth, with some small Salesforce projects, and then also like our field service project, really having experts that are technical architects and designing solutions that are huge, big projects that we could never take on internally. So that having that spectrum is huge for us, all with one company. Yay.
Cool.
So.
And I think you might have some perspective on this as well, because of your past life as an independent consultant and Salesforce consultant as well. But Upwork research states that 47% of hiring managers are now more likely to engage independent talent in the future due to the COVID-19 crisis. What do you think took them so long?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I know for sure, especially at Advanced Turf, I mean, people get comfortable in the way that they do things, and they don't always like to think out of the box. And I just think that this year more than ever has shown us that the old way is not always the best way. Flexibility is absolutely, I think if we learn anything from all of this, it's the need to be flexible. And so for me as an IT leader, I need to give my team that, and not just my team, but all of our employees, the ability to work remotely, the ability to be flexible and to still be able to be effective. So I just think this year has put that under a microscope really. And then it's important to have flexibility in your partners too. So obviously a model like 10K, we know that location's not going to be a factor. I mean, you're able to just react quickly and to have, the experts you need no matter where they are. I just think that that's more and more important every day. So yeah, and I think if, again, as an IT leader, I feel like the talent's going to expect that. I mean, that flexibility. So it's just important from all angles.
Yeah, we've seen that this year as our ranks have continued to grow with more and more folks going independent. You might think an economic crisis isn't the best time, but we found the opposite actually, and a lot of folks are having success there.
Exactly. I mean, there really truly have been, I think, some bright points that have come out of this. I mean, it's been a hard sell in our organization to make people realize, that we can be effective remotely. And honestly, I mean, I think we're in 11 states and 25 locations. So we're already supporting a lot of people that aren't in our headquarters in Fishers, Indiana. So it's, right. It's been positive in some ways that's kind of come to the forefront. Yeah.
Yeah, after working for remote first organizations for the last really 12 years, it's nice to see the rest of the world catch up a little bit.
It is. Yeah. Now I will say though, Mike and I were talking before everybody joined, and sometimes the office is nice. It's nice to have a quiet space.
Yes.
Like, there's plus and minus.
Yes, thankfully the 4 children outside my door are preoccupied and not screaming and yelling. Yeah. For sure. Well, Tracie, you mentioned a little bit, you also use partner community. Can you talk a little bit more about that and what that implementation has looked like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have another company that is a partner of ours. We share information with them, not all information. We wanted to be able to have our some of our sales information shared with them. They're out doing demos, and sometimes our reps are doing demos as well of their equipment. And so we needed that collaboration. So 10K actually helped us implement a partner community so that we can share information. And it's been awesome. I mean, I think that it's funny now that we have partner community and customer community and now employee community, because we're doing our daily health screenings through an employee community that we set up internally. But I think that just shows the power of Salesforce, that we're, it didn't take very long, and yet now they've got pretty much full Sales Cloud licenses. I mean, they're doing some really cool stuff in Salesforce, and it's all through. We're still able to help them and support them from a technical standpoint. And still keep them separate. So that's been awesome.
Very cool. With that, let's take a quick pause. Molly, any questions from the audience or folks on the line? Please feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A box.
Yeah, we do have one question. As a small IT team, how were you able to make the case to your leadership that using Salesforce for so many parts of the business made sense?
It's a great question. So I think that the great thing about Salesforce is that it's not you don't take a big, huge bite all at once. So being able to add things on later has really helped us, I think, sell that. Because, if I had just gone to them at the beginning and said, hey, we're going to get, 200 licenses, and that wouldn't have, I don't think, have flown. But because the model works that way, that's been how we've been able to sell that. And honestly, I wouldn't have wanted to do it all at once. I can't even imagine that we would have been able to. So to be able to have added things in bits and pieces and not take it all off at one chunk, I think helped us sell it and also just manage it ourselves. That's a great question.
Just to expand on that maybe just a little bit, throwing back to our last webinar topic on change enablement, change management, how has adoption been affected by kind of that rollout process? Have you had success in getting your users on board?
Yeah, that's a great question too. I mean, we do have what we would consider like not an entirely tech savvy group of employees, and it's just the way that it is. Not everybody likes change, I don't think, in any way, but I think we were nervous about our specific users in some of our departments and how they might adopt it. And honestly, it's been awesome. It's been really good. And I think because we were able to do things in smaller increments, maybe start out with one thing that we're going to be doing now in Salesforce instead of somewhere else, get them really comfortable with that, and then add on things. And sometimes now we'll add on 3 things, but I think we can do that because they got comfortable with it in the first place. And honestly, especially like we're kind of split evenly between sales and operations, and our operations team has been awesome. I mean, the stuff that we've now are doing in Salesforce, they've been super receptive to it. And I think that being able to roll that out in bits helped with that. Yeah.
Awesome. We had a late joiner, so Tracie, could you share the name of your organization again?
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's Advanced Turf Solutions. So turf being real grass. That's important too, not artificial turf. So
awesome.
We've got some passion.
I can only imagine. Follow up on the specific types of communities. Is it one community with different licenses for a partner, employee, customer, or is it one URL, or did you use an out of the box template? So maybe you could talk a little bit about kind of the different communities that you've set up, how they're different, and then if you use a template or a custom UI.
Yeah, a good question. So we are basically, we've got our partner community is totally separate. So it's got its own set of partner licenses and its own URL. Our customer community, we also use those licenses internally for our internal community, but we do have, we used a template to start with and then we customized it. So that's what our customer community is all based on a template. We didn't do the work internally, so I can't tell you what template it was. but now, yeah, it's got its own separate URL, but at the back end, we are using the same community licenses for our internal community too. And they're the Community Plus licenses. So what's cool about that is that if we do want to add on e-commerce, which we plan to do, we'll be able to do that with those licenses. And then it gives them, I mean, it feels like it's almost as functional as our partner community. I don't know all the ins and outs of that yet, but I mean, the ability to do reports and dashboards and the Plus license is pretty cool.
Well, and then was the employee community a separate community as well that you stood up for your daily health checks?
Yeah. So it's separate, and it's right now, yeah, that's the only thing it's doing, but obviously we'll just continue to add on to that because that's working really well for our people that didn't have Salesforce licenses.
Right on. Awesome.
Yeah.
Another question came in. Can you talk about how a small team like yours supports such an advanced Salesforce implementation? What does your team structure look like, and when do you decide to use partners?
It's a great question. Yeah, so we only have 4 people on our IT team, and I kind of, it's not super clean, but I usually say like 2 of us are more sort of network hardware, customer support based, and then 2 of us are the software and Salesforce side of things. And in fact, we both do have Salesforce certifications. So we typically, I mean, we do a lot internally. I mean, we especially like, custom fields, small changes like that, even workflow, we'll handle that ourselves. But I think a lot of times, especially if it's going to involve that change management side of things, right? So if we're doing something where it's a pretty big change, maybe we're impacting a whole department and changing the way that they might do things, I think that's when we'll look out to see if we should use a partner. And then definitely, I mean, again, having all those clouds like Field Service Lightning, I wouldn't even know where to begin if we were going to make a customization there. So we definitely do outsource that part of it. But yeah, I think internally, reports, admin stuff. My developer has done some really cool stuff on his own too, but a lot of times it's just, we're also wearing a lot of hats. So we just simply can't do it all ourselves. So yeah, there's no magic, I guess, not a great answer as far as there's no magic recipe for when we decide to do it out of house, but it's nice to have that option too.
Yeah, good to understand kind of what the thought process is. This isn't always the best metric, number of employees to number of admins, but what does your ratio look like?
That's a good question. So we have 250 employees, but about 200 of them have Salesforce licenses of some level. And we do only have two people working in Salesforce in the back end, right? So the rest of our IT team does some things in Salesforce to help people out and things like that. But we really only have 2 admins for those 200 users. I don't know if that fits the
That's
formula.
actually higher than most folks have. Probably right about the
Okay.
ratio that's
Okay.
successful. But
Yeah.
cool. All right. Any other questions, Molly, or anyone else in the attendees? Follow-up questions for Tracie? Well, I think that's it.
Yeah, it seems like we're caught up on Q&A.
Great. Well, Tracie, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, first of all, I talked too fast. Sorry about that. I thought I had a lot to say, and then I got excited. No, I think, we really talked about it. I mean, I don't know if we're unique or not, but I feel like just not to be afraid, just because you're a small company or a mid-sized company, not to be afraid of using something like Salesforce and really exploring what's in the ecosystem, because I would never look back, like I said before, about I think we're saving money because we're not getting 800 different things. We're all in Salesforce, so we're all still able to collaborate and to be able to have all those important workflows and approval processes and all be in one place, but also with different levels of access. And it's been really, really awesome. And the customer community, I mean, we're so excited. The timing could not have been better, obviously. But I just think in general, I think the Salesforce and working with partners like 10K that are flexible and let you do things in bits and pieces. I mean, it's just been really important for us to be able to be a small company, but also support quite a lot of people in a lot of different divisions. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Tracie, thank you so much again for joining us today, for sharing your time and your story. With that, we did record this session, and we'll be posting a summary of that likely early next week. So be on the lookout on the 10K blog. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us or follow up. So with that,
Awesome.
thank you so much.
Thanks, Mike.
Have a great day,
Thanks,
everybody.
everybody. Talk to you later.
Cheers.